What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and let's talk about it. Now, when Michael Jordan came up, a lot of y'all didn't know his first nickname they ever called him on the basketball court was Magic. He threw the ball like Magic Johnson, did a lot of things like Magic. Wasn't as tall yet. But they had him running the point. Because back then, if you were short, or they considered you short, you played the point guard. That's just how they recognized. So this ended up perfecting Michael's passing. Because he was able to see guys when they made cuts, got open, to distribute the ball, knew how to get the ball there, when to throw the ball, so that guys wouldn't steal his passes as much. So when he came in the league, he had these things in his repertoire. Now, this is the truth behind the beef between him and Rip. Rip Hamilton was coming from a winning franchise with UConn as they upset Duke. He won a national championship. He was most outstanding player. So when he was drafted by the Washington Wizards, he was 7th overall, number 1 first round pick. So naturally, this is his come out. So he came in the league. They moved him to small forward. Position he never really played, but it's not too much of a difference. So they win about, 29 games or so. They had a good year. He had Mitch Richmond on the team. Now, Michael Jordan becomes like the general manager of the team. Right? So people are like, oh man, Michael Jordan is the man right now. I can't believe this. And I think people didn't understand it and couldn't believe it, but Michael Jordan was the general manager of the Washington Wizards. So, start seeing people with the contracts, the problems that they had. Michael Jordan actually saved the Washington Wizards. So, when you look at the team structure and you start looking at how everything was, set up to look, there's a lot of people on this roster that didn't, amount to too much. So when Mike got there, he knew he had to do a couple of things. Mike said, I got to make some changes. And getting rid of Juwan Howard's contract was the main thing he wanted to do. Washington was so far over the cap by playing a bunch of players who Jordan felt were role players. And you playing them like franchise players. No way Juwan Howard should have been getting that kind of money. And definitely not from us. So Mike looking like, we gotta trim the fat over here. Mitch Richmond contract, we gotta get Mitch out of here. He tried to come and, inspire Mitch, but that didn't work. So, you're looking at a situation where Mitch, he went in the locker room, gave him the speech when he was the general manager, told him, I know what y'all doing. Y'all tanking. And y'all ain't gonna quit on me. And then Mitch told him, why don't you come back and play with us then? So it became that situation. And the first person that was gone was Mitch Richmond. Not Mitch Richmond, but Juwan Howard. So when this was done, everybody's like, whoa, man, we never thought. We knew some people was going to get out of here, and we didn't care. They didn't even care if they got traded. That's why Mike was like, why have you here? If you don't care if you're going to be here or not, why I got you here? You got to go. They had Rod Strickland getting all this money. Juwan Howard getting a lot of money. Mike got rid of both of them. And people was, what are you doing? Then he got Kwame Brown. Kwame didn't live up to expectations. So, it was what it was. Now, when Rip came to the team, it was in the middle of a transitional phase. Jordan came back and played. Was the general manager basically for one season. How many people know that? Mike was only the general manager for maybe a year. Fired coaches, got rid of everything. What he did for them was get Washington under the cap. For the first time in years, the Washington Wizards was under the cap. The very next year, Michael Jordan made an announcement that he was coming back to play. He was already training and practicing to come back when the September 11 attacks happened. So that overshadowed the fact that Michael Jordan was, coming back to the game. Now, the NBA didn't want Michael to come back at all, but there was nothing they could do about it. So they basically decided to just ref Michael Jordan as a regular player to force him out. So when he gets there and he sees Rip and meeting the players and he's on the team, it becomes a different affair. Because he's trying to, coach the team and, he's really nice at one point, then he gets nasty when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And they wasn't ready for that Mike. They thought, he is me, like Mike. If I could be like Mike. That's the Michael Jordan they were thinking about. They weren't thinking about this foul-mouthed guy who still talked as if he was the greatest player on the world, and he knew it. They wasn't ready for that, Mike. So they thinking, man, this dude is something else. But when they practicing and they look back on it, Mike was trying to help their careers. He was trying to help them in the mid-range game. And was trying to get them to get to certain spots. And with Rip, Michael Jordan never really liked those Reggie Miller type players. He admired what Reggie was able to do, but it's hard for Mike to gauge getting you the ball, off these picks, certain picks he can. And he liked Rip. He knew Rip had talent. But Rip was hard-headed. He told him, he was like, look, Rip, you got to get to the All-Star game before you start wearing my Jordans. And there was one game where Rip missed the game-winning shot. And they go to the back room, and he was like, look, don't tell me next time. Ain't going to be no next time. You got to make them now. And then Rip says something like, you ain't make them all. I made them when they count. So once he made that notion and let him know then, look, I make them when they count. A whole bunch of curse words, was thrown in there. But it was clear that Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. And he's not to be tampered with. So they come up with a game plan. They said, well, you know what? Let's try to work together, man. Because we stuck here together. I need you. So Rip made the All-Star game. And when he made the All-Star game, and Jordan was there, and next thing you know, everybody's looking around, they see Mike, and they're like, wow. This is going to be it. The last time we see Michael Jordan on the court. This is the final season. And when the year was over, through all the bickering, through all the wars with Michael on the court, Rip never really took to the fact that Mike was challenging him to get better. And Mike was going back to the front office. But ownership knew, or from what they saw with him and Michael Jordan, that Rip Hamilton was going to be a problem. They felt this is a complainer. He couldn't play with Michael. Everybody else knew to bow down to Mike, and he was just a problem. So they traded Rip Hamilton. Sent him to Detroit. And they got Jerry Stackhouse. Now, Detroit was ready to get rid of Stack. Because Stack was a whole different type of animal. Jerry Stackhouse was that guy. So over the years, while he was in Detroit and they're winning championships and Chauncey's getting most valuable player, and he's averaging 30-something points. He led the Pistons in scoring almost every year. It was clear of one thing. He could play. And because he could play at this moment in time and Mike was retired, they ended up becoming like the best of friends. As Mike, it was no love lost. They saw each other, and because Jordan Brand was bringing him in, and he got the offer from Jordan Brand, and he couldn't believe it. Like, Mike is making me, giving me the keys. Like, this is unbelievable. It was a learning experience. And he told him there was no way Michael was going to play another season with Rip Hamilton at that time. Rip was just not ready to, it was too much infighting in the locker room, and Mike didn't need that. He needed somebody who was going to be in the dog with him in the war. So that wasn't fair to Rip. So he traded him to Detroit. Rip was like, man, why didn't you come to me? And that was the whole thing. He was like, man, why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you just call me and say, hey, we finna trade you. No call, no nothing. You just traded. Rip was at the lowest point of his life when that happened. But it helped make him the player he was in Detroit. And they got to win championships, and he was able to play in a system that fit him. So Mike got to play with Stack and Larry Hughes. These are two almost of the same type of mentality players. These were dogs. But these guys weren't as good, and Michael was a little banged up this year. This was the season Mike's knee was starting to really give him problems. He had to keep getting his knee drained, get injections in his knee just so he could perform. So now the rigorous wear and tear of the NBA is starting to take its toll on Mike. So when they brought up the fact of everything that happened when he brought Rip into Jordan Brand, it was almost like, wow, I'm really being brought into Jordan Brand. This is crazy, it was like almost surreal because him and Mike became friends, and Rip wasn't bitter. It's like some people don't realize that, it's okay to be going through, arguing. Michael Jordan wasn't holding on to that. Michael Jordan was like, look, I was trying to make you better. That's my whole point. I want to win. My job ain't to hold back Richard Hamilton. That's not my job. It's trying to win games. And he was trying to get Rip to get that mental toughness. And once Rip figured that out, like, man, when he was in Detroit, like, I see what Mike was trying to do. Like, he really was trying to help me. But knowing how Mike played the game, in certain situations, Mike wanted to be the guy. So him being the guy wasn't going to, go over well. I saw Rip as, they look at him as he's about a 20-point game scorer, Might hit you for a 30-piece now and, every now and then. But Rip was the kind of guy that came off picks, run you through 1,000 of them, catch the ball, pull up, shot. That was his game. Complete rhythm basketball player. And Detroit accidentally had one of the best teams in basketball because of it. They didn't know what they had. And for about 4 years, they had about 3-4 years of real dominance. Like, they were good for about 4 years straight after they won the title. They went to back-to-back NBA Finals, and they kept going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. So they were always in the thick because of the lineup that they had. Now, Rip Hamilton, I think he got married. And when he got married, D. Wade and Michael Jordan was there. And that was way after Mike's career was done. Rip got married in Florida and brought Wade, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey, and Michael Jordan. Everybody was in Boca Raton to see the wedding. So that shows you where they were and where they are in their friendship. So hopefully you guys like the video. You can always donate to the page by clicking the link in the description box. It's your boy Carcino, man. I'm out. Y'all have a blessed day.